Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel, Dream of Crafts. My name's Deanna and today we'll be working on week number 51 of my 52 weeks of Christmas. And we are going to be doing a display explosion box type of little gift box that you can put. I'm going to put a little decoration in the center, but you could put a little gift box in there. I'm going to add a little pocket for like a gift tag or a gift certificate or something. So we will go ahead and get started. My primary papers are this piece here, Reminisce, and I don't know the number on that. Let me see here. That is Santa Sweater. And I'm not seeing a number. So it says Dear Santa, Santa Sweater. So it's the deer on one side and then the sweater print on the back. Use part of that sheet. I've also used some of this Holly Jolly Heidi Swap paper, Believe. And this is an older paper, but I just love this snowflakes on here. And so I used both sides of this. I had a few sheets of this, so used quite a bit of that up. I think that's my last full sheet. I've also used some regular cardstock, just your basic color. It's heavy weight and natural color. So we're going to be doing that. So what I've done is I've taken a 12 by 12 piece and I have scored it. Let me go ahead and grab another one here. Sorry about that. So I scored it on the scoreboard at 4 inches, 4 inches, turned it, scored again at 4 inches, turned it, scored again at 4 inches, turned it, and scored again at 4 inches. So what you end up with is all these scores here. So then all I did was go in and I cut out each of those squares. So I end up with this nice little plus sign here. I then burnished all my edges, turned them in. So then you have your base to your explosion box. So I'm going to decorate the back, the outside of this first because it's going to be easier while it's flat. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to pretend this is my front. This is just a piece out of my stash that I had that I'm going to use for my front display. And it says he's making a list and checking it twice. Got a nice finished Santa there. So I'm going to hold this like it's going to be standing up in my box. And then I'm going to turn it here that I glue this in the right direction, just like that. Make sure they're facing the right direction, not upside down. I've gone ahead and I've prepped my inside pieces. I've been kind of working at this off and on most of the day, trying to get everything prepped for this. So I knew what I was going to put in there. All right, so we know now that that is going to be our front piece. We're going to turn it, and I've cut these all the same. So we're just going to go ahead and glue these all down. So these are all going to face us like we're looking at them. And these are all cut at 3 3/4. Oh, no, these might be cut 3 7/8. Just lay in there just a little bit crooked. Yeah, there we go. These are 3 7/8. This one was 3 3/4. Don't ask me why I did that, but I can tell by the way they're laying down on there that they were cut just a little bit bigger. All right, which is fine. And all these make a nice The Reminisce is a thinner paper, this one is. But once we get everything on there, then it's going to be the inside too. It's going to stiffen up those edges for the explosion box part. And there's my dog. Not sure what she's barking at, but and then we're going to put this here. There we go. Just like that. Okay. So that is the outside of our box. So then we will have this. I'll just kind of move it around for you. Just like that. All right. So now I want to keep this front facing me so I know exactly where my front is. I have cut this out of that snowflake paper and I used this die here, the center one. It's a Gina Marie design die and it cuts this pretty little, it's got like holly leaves and stuff on it. And I thought that would look pretty for the center. So let's go ahead and do that. And she does have a website. I did look. She's from Michigan, so I couldn't tell you where I got that die. I might have bought it at a local. There used to be a scrapbooking store in the Grand Rapids area that I used to go to, and noticed recently when I went down that street that business was closed, and was one of the few places that I went to get some of my supplies because she started actually making some of her own dies, but I don't know if that's the same woman or not, but that store owner did. All right, so we're going to put that in the center there, like that. I'll grab this little paper towel here, just like that. Okay. All right, and then I created this cute little tree. So now this tree was a die I got it from AliExpress, and I got it from Cat Love, and it's just a Christmas tree, and it was $2.16 with shipping and handling. Things like this usually take about 30 days to get. So if you want something like that, then you might want to order it up right away. And what it does is it creates this 3D tree here. Well, it doesn't create this 3D tree. It gives you this and then the top part, which gives you the 3D elements there. So what I did was, and I thought I'd do it in red to show you it easier rather than the light colors. I cut it out and then I pulled each one of those up away from the back there, and it's really easy. But I want to know exactly where to put glue because I don't want to put glue in the spots where it's pulled up because I don't want to glue those down. So I'm just gluing around the edges. All right. And then you just center this on your bottom piece there. Okay. I'm going to come in here and press it down here and there without pressing my little raised elements down. And I thought, well, that's a pretty tree. I like that. But I wanted something more dimensional for the center of my project. So I took my scoreboard and I lined my tree up on one of my things, and I centered on one of my marks there. And I highlight some of my marks with an ink pen so I can see all the way down. You don't have to do that. And then I kind of eyeballed the bottom to make sure I was kind of getting that in the center there, and then I scored it. Okay. Scored it all the way down. Good press several times. Then I folded it to burnish that score, like so. All right. So then I ended up with a V for my tree. I cut 3 sets of these and glued them together to get this 3-dimensional tree. So that's how I did that. And then once you get it scored and you've got everything back together, then you can just go back and lift those up again to give them more dimension. Like I said, I cut, see, I cut 3 of each of these, scored them, and then glued the backs together. So I ended up with this. And you could probably do another one, but I thought 3 was enough. Now, you can see the bottom is a little rounded. So what I did was I just went out and flattened the bottom. I just snipped it with my scissors to flatten it out so it's going to stand up nice for me. So that's how I 3. All right. Then I went in my Cricut and I found a cute little 3-dimensional house, and I put that together. I did it in white, and then I just used my brush corduroy and made just some like lines, some marks on it with my brush corduroy. And it's hard to see. It's pretty light in here. So what we're going to do with those 2 is I'm going to double check my front. Oh, see, I had it turned around already. So I want this in the front. I want my little house facing me, so the door facing me. And then I'm going to glue the tree and the house on here. So I'm going to plug in my hot glue gun because I might need that for the tree. We'll see. But I can get the house glued in there, and then while my up, we can go and do some other things. All right. So we're going to go ahead and just sit that just like that. Let me get inside the door there with something. Now this house did not come with a door. I just cut it in with my X-Acto blade. All right. So now I know that the door faces my card. That helps me keep in a line. So for this bottom piece here, I've cut a piece of white, and this is heavy cardstock. We're going to glue that down first. It has a little black smudge on it from something, I don't know what. This was actually a scrap piece from the, I printed something on it, but it's heavy cardstock. And I thought, well, take it out of the little scrap bin there, might as well use it. All right, so this is cut 1/8 of an inch smaller. So this is 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. My next one is just a little bit smaller than that. I think this is not 3 7. That's not 1/8 of an inch, but you could go. This one is 3 and looks like 5/8. 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. That's just red cardstock, just to pull in some red to coordinate with some of the other elements here. So we're just going to kind of center that on there, just to bring a pop of color. Then our last piece is that snowflake paper again, and this has all been edged with the brush corduroy. And this piece is 3 1/2 by 3 1/2. And I kind of did them all a little different. So this one's got the 3 different pieces. There we go. And I've got a Noel cut out of this Tim Holtz Sidekick die. It's a Sizzix 663112. And then I've also cut out Snow from the Sidekicks side order Thinlits die 663098. So, and I've cut out some of the snowflakes out of the word snow, and then just Noel out of that one. So that's another die I used. I've got just a little season's greeting title. I think this is from Graphic 45. And it was just, when I get done with projects, I put, whoops, I'm sorry, I'm out of frame. I'm going to glue that right down there. I put them all in a little box to hold on to them. And my Noel here. I just, it's like little photo boxes, and then I just, store little elements in there that are kind of likes. So let's go ahead and put Noel right there. Just wanted to get some different phrases. This was just a snowflake cut out of the white cardstock. And we're just going to add that there. And then here's one cut out of that cardstock. There we go. And I'm just using the red side there. And then here's just a little white one. There we go. Whoops. Got glue on my fingers. There we go. That's it for that piece here. Get my pin back in my glue. There we go. Get these guys out of my way. Okay. All right. So then our side here, I have got a piece of white cardstock again, like that, same size. I want to say it's 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. Double check just to make sure, but it is. All right. And I wanted the heavier cardstock. This is just Hobby Lobby's heavy cardstock. And wanted that to stiffen up these panels so they could hold up better as an explosion box. There we go. That hole's starting to plug up. There we go. And then with the same cardstock, I created this little tag here, but I'm going to make it into a pocket. So I cut 2 strips of white at 1 inch by the length of this. So this pocket is 2 3/4 high by 3 1/4 wide. So if you wanted to make it 4 1/4, this was just an afterthought with me. You can make it 4 1/4 and then score a 1/2 inch on each of those edges. I just ended up adding 1 inch strips that I had scored at a 1/2 inch to create a pocket. And then this tag here is also from AliExpress, but I couldn't find the little package. I usually write down on the package what it is, but I couldn't find the package. But it's just little tags. One says Joy, one says Merry Christmas, and the other one says Noel. And so I've cut those in like the craft cardstock and then topped it off with another piece of this decorative cardstock, and then just cut off the word Joy there and glued the decorative cardstock on just so that it creates a little different here. I also stamped this with Believe in the Magic of Christmas, a nice fancy font, and I used the brushed corduroy for that. So we're just going to go ahead and glue this pocket down. I'm going to glue it down so that the bottom is facing me, so that when they open it from the front, that's going to, your gift tag will, or your gift certificate or your gift card will fit right in this pocket. Then you can slide it right in there. So I'm going to put some glue on my little tabs here. And like I said, you could make that one solid piece and then just score a 1/2 inch on each edge to create that. But mine was just an afterthought. I was going to try to do an envelope, and I just couldn't get the envelope the way I wanted it to. So I just said, forget it. I'll just do a pocket. Much easier. There we go. And I add a little bit of glue along the bottom there. And my tag is held on with a brad too, so that can kind of swing out of the way so it doesn't cover up my pretty stamping. There. So we've got 2 of our panels done. For our next panel, I've got another piece of the heavyweight white cardstock, 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. Let me go ahead and add that. Now, if you don't have brushed corduroy, you can use just a brown color is all it is to bring in that antiquing look. So you don't have to use brushed corduroy. You can use all decorative paper if you want to. You can do whatever you want with this. You can cut your base out of the decorative cardstock instead of the craft cardstock. It's all in your choices, whatever you want. So let me get those out of the way. And then I've got another piece of red cardstock here. This is 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. Again, you can use any kind of cardstock you want. You can make this decorative cardstock too. I just chose to put the red on there to pull in the same red from there. Try to balance it out a little bit because some of the little things have red in them. That's why I went this way. There we go, just like that. There we go. And then my next die was a Christmas 3-piece tree set, and it was from the Piggy store in 72. And it actually cuts out these trees here like that, but then it cuts these pieces out at the same time. So like that. You see that? So those are kind of cool too. So I'll just throw those in my stash, or maybe I'll use them on there. I'm not sure. I just think they're kind of cool. So we're going to do this one. I end up having to just take just a little of the tip off of there because it was just a little too tall for this display. But other than that, it's like perfect size. But I thought these were really cute. So just like that. Perfect. My glue over there. And then the little middle one, this littlest one, I'm going to put in the middle. Just like so. Just like they're set up on the dies. And then this one, I'm just using the red and green side of this one here. That little chart is very thin. There we go. So we got that. Then I think I'm just going to add a couple of these snowflakes here. Just put a little dot on there, just that, and then just the white side of these ones, I guess. See, it stuck to me. Look, there we go. Just to bring in some other elements there. Move that die out of my way. And then we have one last panel here. Again, the same white cardstock. All right. And you can make these boxes pretty much whatever size. Well, I guess to be bigger than 4x4, you'd have to glue pieces together. Because this one here took a whole 12x12 sheet just to do this 4x4 box, which is nice because you don't have any cut off. And then for the lid, I used a 8.5x11 sheet and cut that down, and I'll explain that in a minute. So for this one, I have this tag out of my stash. Just says ho, ho, ho. I thought that would go cute because the front of our box says he's making a list, checking it twice. So that's pulling in the idea of Santa there. Just something a little different here. There we go. I'm going to do that kind of on an angle there. All right, this is a flower that I created for one of my graphic 45 layouts, and I always make extras, so this was in my stash. So let's just go ahead and glue that on there. We want to make sure it's not over the edge there. All right, and then we have just the word snow, and I'm going to put that somewhere. See, maybe like that. Yeah, I want that over there. Bring in some of that craft color over there. Whoops, I'm out of frame. Sorry about that. Let me bring it in all just like that. Perfect. All right. So now let's go ahead and hot glue our little tree on here, and I'm going to find how I want it setting. I think like that. So I'm just going to add a bead of glue on the triangle there. We're going to set it just like that. Kind of hold it till it sets up. There we go. You can make this tree any color you wanted. There we go. So that is our inside. Oops, I had this little rolled up like this thing here. So maybe I'm going to glue that on there too. You can still see the ho-ho there. Yeah, let's go ahead and use some hot glue to glue this down too. This is just that same paper rolled up and distressed along the edges and kind of torn a little bit. And then I just took a little piece of, it was actually a piece of burlap string that was laying in my box. And I just used that to tie it, just to make it look like a rolled up document there. There we go. Oh, let me turn that around so the bow is facing the right way. There we go. Have my bow upside down. All right. So that will work. And then all of these will stand up like that. And then our lid will go over top. So let's go ahead and talk about our lid. So now for the lid, like I said, I took craft cardstock, 8.5 by 11, and I cut myself a piece that was 6 by 6. And I did the same thing as I did for the other piece. So I took my scoreboard with a 6 by 6. Let me see, I don't have a 6 by 6 piece, but I'll show you what I did. This is smaller, but I'll demonstrate this in a smaller way. I lost my, okay. I'm going to cover my glue here. So let's just pretend this is 6 by 6. And so what I did was I scored it at 1 inch, turned it, scored at 1, turned it, scored at 1, turned it, scored at 1. So then I had a 4-inch piece in the center. I then took my scissors and I cut on my right hand side. I cut up to that mark, just like that. See that? I cut right up to that corner mark, didn't go past. I'm going to turn this to my right. On my right hand side, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut that score line up to that square mark. Turn it to the right side, do the same thing. Cut right up to that score line. Turn it again, right side. I'm going to cut up to that score line. Okay? Then I'm going to burnish all my edges here. Just like that. Okay? Then what you end up with is all these little tabs. Now these tabs are going to fold in on the score line. Okay? So let's burnish all of those. Bring them in towards, or fold them away from you. So in towards the inside of the box. This was used for, I was practicing with something else here. So then I have all these tabs folded up. Each one of these tabs is going to connect to an edge. So I'm going to take this tab here and I'm going to glue that to there. Okay. This tab here is going to get glued to this edge. And you're basically just creating a box again, except for your tabs are just shorter and you're going to glue them down and not cut them off. Now this one, you got 2 tabs here. So we're going to glue this one and then we're going to put glue on this one. And we're going to push that up in there. We're going to hold this one down. And then we're going to hold this one down. And what you end up with is a little box. And that is how we made the lid. Now this, of course, was done from a 4-inch piece, but you're just going to do the same thing. 6 by 6. Score 1 inch around on each edge. Snip to the score line, on the score line, up to the score line on the right side, rotate, cut to the score line, up to the score line, rotate right, And you're just going to rotate right until you keep doing that all the way around. Okay. So that's our lid. So now I've taken the decorative piece of this cardstock and I cut this 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. Added a tag that said Merry Christmas. And this one I just backed with a bit of the white cardstock so it would show up on there. Otherwise it was kind of blending in. Again, there's a brad on there. And I am just going to glue that to my top. Now, I am not going to glue anything to the sides of these because I don't think it really needs it. All right, so I'm going to flip this over so I can get this glued on there. Now, you can glue this on prior to folding up all the edges, but this works just as easy for me. So, all right, so this is going to be facing us. So that's also going to be facing the front of the box. The last item I have is just a small white poinsettia out of my stash that I've added a little red button to. This was pre-made. We're just going to add that to the top for a decoration. Just a little hot glue there. And that will hold that cute little thing on. And like I said, you've got the perfect little area here for a gift tag. So it should fit right in there. So let's go ahead and fold this up. And I have not test fitted my cover, so I'm hoping it's going to slide right on. And if not, then I got to make it a little bigger, and it's not. See, there's a, I have to make it just a little bit bigger. Let me see here. I think we can get it. There we go. All right. So we got it on. You might want to go just, I did go a little bit smaller with this one. As you can see my edges here, but then it was way too big, so I went back. So what I would do is score at, instead of 1 inch, score at 7/8 of an inch on each side. So 7/8, 7/8, 7/8, 7/8, and that'll make your lid just a little bit bigger. So then once you've got this on there, and I will remake another top for this, but as you can see, that completely shows, and you've got your other sides there. And you can add decorative cardstock to that if you want, but I will make a little bit bigger top for this because I will use this box. So then you pull off, the idea is you pull off the thing and your thing flies open and you have a nice, they have a nice display there. So that is week number 51 of my 52 weeks of Christmas. I have one left and I will get that up very soon here. So I'm going to take time to thank you for dropping by. I appreciate you watching my videos. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. You can hit that subscribe button right below this video and a bell will pop up. If you hit that bell, you'll be notified each time I load up a new video. I hope you have a great night. Bye-bye.